After 15 fights and 6 years spent in the UFC, most of those fights and years spent as a top 15, top 10 contender in the light heavyweight division, Corey Anderson, since coming over to Bellator, has garnered a record of 5 wins and 1 loss, and of course that one no contest that he was winning prior to the accidental head clash. He has done it. He has won gold for a major mixed martial arts promotion. Corey Overtime Anderson is the light heavyweight champion of the world in Bellator. And another OG, Patricio Pitbull, just continues to add to his resume. Corey Anderson has won 2 fights in a row since losing his rematch to Vadim Nemkov back in 2022 in what was the second title fight between them. He beat Phil Davis last June, and now he has defeated Karl Moore to kick off 2024 and finally get gold wrapped around his waist. Corey Overtime Anderson has done it at 34 years old. He is a Bellator champion. And what a story. It is great to see him finally get to the top of the mountain. Regardless of what promotion he did it in, he is a champion. My hat is off to Corey Anderson, who has been through the ringer, had been in there with tons of world-class fighters over the past 10 years now at this point. Better late than never is what they say. The fight, listen, it wasn't some all-timer, something that I'm going to revisit time and time again. But Corey Anderson did what he had to do to get the victory. Karl Moore, to his credit, ultra tough guy. He's now 12-3. This was his biggest step up in competition by far, and he gave it a good fight. He was much better on the feet, landed some pretty dangerous shots that had Corey hurt time and time again throughout the 25 minutes, but it came down to the wrestling, pressure, and grappling of Corey Anderson. That is what got the job done for him over the course of this 5-round decision. He was able to press Karl Moore up against the fence for pretty much most of the fight when they weren't at range in the middle of the cage, and that is what paid dividends. He was able to get Karl down when he needed to the most after those, interesting positions he found himself in the striking realm, and that is what got the victory for Corey Anderson. I'll be curious to see what will come next. They didn't really name any specific names in the post-fight like Patricio Pitbull did that we'll get into in a second. So we'll kind of see how this division will shake out. There's 7 more Bellator Champion Series events for the remainder of 2024. And I'm assuming they're going to do at least one more Bellator versus PFL champ, maybe one to start the year, one to end the year. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll kind of just wait and see what happens with Corey Anderson. But for now, he is finally a major mixed martial arts promotion champion. Patricio Pitbull leads Bellator in the most fights ever in their promotion, the most victories ever in their promotion, the most title victories in their promotion. The 4-time Bellator champion finds a way to win. He knocks out Jeremy Kennedy in round 3 of their fight with vicious knees and punches up against the fence in a fight that was pretty competitive. It was very close. Jeremy Kennedy was the betting favorite going into this, albeit slight. I believe it was around minus 120. Patricio Pitbull plus 100 on the comeback as a dog. But regardless, very good scrap. It was technical, but there were big moments here and there. And then Patricio lit him up and would not let him off the leash. Once he smelt blood in the water, Pitbull moved in for the kill, and he got the huge finish. He ends his 2-fight losing streak and gets his first victory since December 31st, 2022. And I love this very much. He's now 36-7, which is an unbelievable record. But look at this, 36 wins, 36 years old, 12 knockouts, 12 submissions, and 12 decisions, all things perfectly balanced for Patricio Pitbull. And he had plenty of names to call out in the aftermath of his fight. He first named the PFL featherweight champion, which we know as Jesus Pinedo. He got the job done in the 2023 season, pulled off plenty of upsets en route to becoming the champion and the $1 million winner. They were supposed to face each other on the inaugural PFL versus Bellator champion card, but Jesus had to be pulled out due to injury. Patricio was going to fight, then his new opponent had to pull out, so Patricio was just scrapped from the card. That is why we got this title fight here with Jeremy Kennedy instead in Northern Ireland. He then said after he beats the PFL featherweight champion, he's going to beat the UFC featherweight champion and prove he is the best featherweight in the entire world, regardless of promotion. And let us not forget, he did call out a Bellator fighter as well. He checked every single box. He called out Aaron Pico, and that is a fight that I think we are going to see. As I previously stated, there are 7 more of these Bellator Champions Series events to happen throughout the remainder of the year. I absolutely think we're going to get, finally, the matchup of Pitbull versus Pico. Aaron Pico has been around for years now at this point in Bellator. He came in with a very high pedigree, and now he's finally put it all together, a win streak long enough to garner a shot to challenge for a title, and it will be against Patricio Pitbull. I would imagine they do this fight. The winner of that may then face whoever the featherweight champion will be at the end of the year for the PFL. That's how I kind of envision this going. And if it is Patricio and he beats Pico and then he beats the featherweight champion, regardless of if it's Pinedo or a new champion come November, will he ever actually get the chance to go to the UFC and try to beat their champion? More than likely, the odds are slim to none, but you never know. You can't fault the man for shouting out everybody in every promotion. He's already fought people in Ryzen, by the way, so at this point, he's only leaving out one championship, and knowing Pitbull, he may just call out someone from over there too. And I will quickly mention that we do have a new number 1 contender in the middleweight division. The next man up to challenge the undefeated Johnny Eblen for the middleweight throne in Bellator is, well, it's actually someone Johnny Eblen's already beat and actually already knocked out. Fabian Edwards, brother of UFC welterweight champion Leon Edwards. He gets the victory over Aaron Jeffery, a decision, back and forth, pretty closely contested. Not the greatest of fights, not the worst of fights. It was just a solid 15-minute scrap. Nothing to hang your hat on, nothing to complain about. Good fight. Fabian gets back in the win column, and I say he's back in the win column because his most recent fight was a loss to Johnny Eblen. That was his most recent fight that we got to see, so he only needed one win, one fight to bounce back into the title picture. That will be another fight to come in the next 7 events in 2024 for Bellator. And then I want to quickly mention 3 other big-time performances on the Bellator Belfast card. Manoel Sousa is now 10-0 with, I believe, 9 finishes. He had the most brutal finish of the entire weekend, regardless of Bellator or UFC. He knocked out Tim Wilde with 12 seconds left in the first round. One shot, bang, done. If you haven't seen that knockout, you need to go see it. It was brutal. Manoel Sousa at 155 pounds for the Bellator lightweight division. Keep an eye on him. Clarke may be one of the best bantamweights in Bellator, and dare I say, one of the best in the world. He's 9-0 now with 6 finishes. I know the problem with saying he's maybe one of the best in the world is that the level of competition is nowhere near as high as a lot of the guys, even in the upper echelon of Bellator, but then especially in the UFC. But he is an elite level prospect, if you ask me. He's right in those young to prime years, entering that perfect saga of years. If you're a mixed martial artist, he is very, very dangerous. Will we ever get him in the UFC or versus PFL champions? One can only hope, but I think he quickly now, after this performance, should climb the bantamweight ladder and not challenge for a title next, but it's possible he could come 2025. And then Nathan Kelly had a 40-second knockout finish early on the prelims. He has won, I now think, 10 straight fights. He started his career 0-2 and has since rallied off a ton of victories in a row. Very dangerous, high-level finisher, high-level prospect. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Bellator Belfast. What do you think should be next for Corey Anderson after he has finally won a title? Who is next for Patricio Pitbull? Is it Jesus Pinedo? Is it a UFC featherweight champion, Ilia Topuria? Is it Aaron Pico, the violent featherweight in the Bellator division? And what are your thoughts on the rematch between the undefeated Johnny Eblen and Fabian Edwards? If you enjoyed this recap of Bellator Belfast, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Every single week, you can count on me to bring you my recaps of the most meaningful results from every MMA card. I preview and break down fights going into every single weekend, the biggest storylines, and how did we get to these fights, and I give my thoughts and opinions on breaking MMA news and fight announcements. Be sure to join the community on social media at the BAJ MMA and follow on your favorite audio listening platform as well, such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.